All right, we're delighted to welcome. Mark, what is your role actually? I'll have to get Chris to edit this now. What is your general manager, aren't you? General manager, isn't it?
General manager or chief operations officer.
Perfect. We are delighted to welcome the chief operations officer, Martin Connolly, onto the pod. Martin, how's it going?
All good, all good.
All
Dino,
good. It's
seems
nice to
very,
be.
seems very official. You introducing me like that, you know. Are we going to get through this?
Well, this is a good crack. This is a good crack.
Are we going to get through this?
Yeah, we will. We'll go through it again. Chris is going to have a nightmare, but anyway, look, we'll go through it again. I'll start it from the start. All right.
Yeah.
We're delighted to welcome on the Chief Operating Officer, Martin Connolly, back on the podcast tonight. How's it going, Martin? How are you?
All good, Pinker.
There we go. It's the second time of asking. If anybody's watching this live, they'll be laughing at us. But look, it's as formal as we're going to get, Martin. Anyway, but look, I think it was. We've obviously, you were on another podcast last week, Martin, on the press box and their live show, talking about things that are happening. There seems to be a lot happening around the club behind the scenes, as well as what can only be described as a successful season on the pitch, in comparison to what we went through last year. So I think it was important to get you back on. We got you on just after the kind of takeover had happened, or in around that time last year. So first of all, I suppose just a general question for you, Martin. How do you feel things have been going this season?
Yeah, it's been a wee bit hectic. I think people sometimes forget that Stevie took over and we only had 5 or 6 players signed for the season. I think what he's done on the pitch is remarkable, and I think people sometimes forget that. We all read the social media posts and we all read what's going on. And I think sometimes you just love to contact individual people and say, do you actually realize where we were and what we're trying to do, and I think if you can take that into consideration, where we are is absolutely amazing, and we're delighted to be there. But there's still work to do. There's still a lot of work on. Stevie would never be satisfied. He probably copies one of his predecessors in that, and that he's never happy, and he sets high standards, and that's what you expect from him. And but we've an awful lot to do off the pitch as well, and to improve standards, because we're not stupid enough to say that we have everything right, because we don't. And we've had a bit of luck this week with 3 points from the Sligo game, and we'll take it and we'll move on, and hopefully we can continue in the vein that we have been.
Yeah, no, it's been great to see, and I think one of the biggest things, and we've mentioned it, I think we mentioned it even last year on the pod that the community aspect of the club, that identity was lost over the last couple of seasons in particular, and it's great to see that back. And how important is it for you, in your role as the chief operating officer, to have? I saw there was an event, was it last week or the week before, on the Sunday in the pitch? How important is it to have the likes of that, to have the summer camps, back and being advertised, not just being kind of hidden away, and having the community feel back into the club?
You won't survive. The League of Ireland club won't survive in the world that it is now, because you won't attract sponsors if you're not community based. You go and talk to people who want to sponsor you, and the first word they mention is community. So the fact that you've strong social media presence and you're strong in your community is a vital cog in getting sponsorship. But you can do that and it can be a box ticker, or you can do it and it can be effective. And it was a very important part of taking over the club, that we had got to be a community-based football club, and we had to mean it. And some of the stuff we've done this year, I think by all standards has been really, really good. Starting off with Women's Aid, then the collection for Ukraine, going on to the MND jersey, which was incredible, and the open day last week with Inclusion Loud, which was, really, it would really make you realize how lucky you are in life, and I know we're going to be talking about the mental health and well-being initiative, but that is part of it as well, and it's a vital part of the club now, and it's another aspect that's only starting, I think. And if we're serious about growing as a football club, and I did say this last week, and I know we're going to be talking about the survey, and it is part of it as well, but community, facilities, social inclusion, sustainability, all that sort of stuff is now going to be as vital as what's going on in the football pitch.
Yeah, no, and as I say, it's been absolutely amazing to see it back up and going, and back at the forefront of everything that's going on. And we will get to the mental health and wellbeing program a little bit later. But you touched on there, Martin, the club survey that's going to be coming out. I think it was last week as well that the email came out for people to express their interest in being involved in that survey. So could you give any of our listeners a little bit of insight into what that's going to entail from the end? Is it going to be very broad? Is it going to be mostly based on the off the pitch stuff that happens around the club, or is it going to entail some of what happens on the pitch as well?
No, I don't think it'd be too. You can't really do a survey of what goes on the pitch, because that's Stevie's baby, and if we start telling managers what to do and who to pick and all that sort of stuff, that's you're going to walk into trouble, as Thomas.
You're not putting the.
Huh?
I would say you're not putting the telephone in the thing.
No. We'll see how that.
We'll not talk about that.
No, but no, the survey is basically going to cover everything that is important around the club. We did say when we took over that we're going to use the first year or so to sort of review everything of what goes. And when you're dealing with Oriel Park, as you know, Pingu, if you just want to have a survey with people, you will just you live and die on facilities and the stadium, and we know that, and that's fine. It is really important. But when we want people's opinion, like, it's okay saying we want to talk about the stadium, but do you want a new stadium, or do you want to redevelop Oriel Park? Do you want a stadium that ticks all the boxes? At this stage, do we want a stadium that is just really covered area all round, or do you want one that's going to be will hold all the games for group stages of Europa League? Because they're one's there and the other one's there, so yeah. And we have to ask the question. I think, and I have my own opinions on this, that people at this stage could be just happy with covering all the areas and having it nice for families and nice for to improve the experience on a Friday night. But we'll see. That's my opinion, but what we've said to people all along, and we want to get this message out, and it's part of the reason why I'm on here tonight when you ask me, is because if we're going to do a survey, there is no point having a survey in Oriel Park that takes you 2 minutes on your mobile phone, because it won't cover everything. So we're warning people that when we put the survey out, register for it, we'll get the survey to you. It's going to take you 10 or 15 minutes to fill it in, because it covers a lot of different areas, and that's what we want. So we're warning people, sit down and at your laptop or whatever, and be prepared to answer the questions as honestly as you can. And when we get the information, we look at it and we'll decipher it, and we'll have an open evening, or we'll have something, we'll do up some report, and we'll tell you what you've told us. And then it's how we go forward after that is the next stage.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And I suppose you touched obviously on the stadium's going to be, I think every year it becomes a big topic of conversation. As you know, since you went into your position way back when, I think every year it comes up. But is it something that, again, and I don't like harping back to previous owners or previous things, but last year there was a committee set up, under the previous regime for ground development. Is that still going under the current regime, or is that gone away right now? Because that's something that, I've just seen it coming up again in the last couple of weeks when we've been on telly. it's being discussed again. Whatever happened with that group, is that going under the current regime?
I think we could talk about facilities, and again, we could take up 5-year programs on facilities.
Yeah.
But I think every other League of Ireland club except Shamrock Rovers and Derry City could do the same. So, it's unfair to just say that the problem club in the league is Dundalk Football Club. It's not. The facilities in Finn Harps aren't great. The facilities in Tulka Park aren't. The facilities in Daly. We can go on and on and on. But where to go back to your initial question, is there we have a committee in Oriel Park that looks at the maintenance of Oriel Park, and that we have had meetings about different areas of things you could do and how to do it, and we have spoken with the FAI about possible funding, but when I was there the last time, you still had those meetings. I'm sure somebody last year had those meetings, and that's all they are. It's like we can have a strategy all you want, but unless it's properly planned and properly funded, it's only a piece of paper. So let's get the information in. Let's see where we can go. We can still have and people can have a say in what they would like to see, and then we'll look at all the committees you want. But we're not sitting on our hands. We do look at different opportunities. We do talk to politicians, lots of them, to see where the opportunities are, and they'll all tell you at the same thing. It's very, very tough at the moment to go and look for funding anywhere. But the other thing they'll tell you is that you need a plan. There has to be some sort of idea and some sort of plan, and this is the start of it.
Yeah, and I think, like we've mentioned it again, over the last year and a half that we've been running the podcast, is if it's something that supporters want, Martin, and you might agree with this or you might not agree with what I'm about to say, but if it's something that supporters want, I feel personally, and we've discussed this at length on the podcast over the last while, but I think supporters need to, as a support, let's say, for example, the supporters group, the 1903, they should be putting money towards the ground investment too, because it shouldn't just be up to the current owners, because at some stage, Stat Sports and Andy Connolly aren't going to own Dundalk. They're not going to own it forever. So it has, supporters have to play their part as well as the funding that's gotten right.
It's good that you've led on to that. We had a very good meeting with the 1903 club last week with Brendan and Jerry and a few others of the committee, and it was very open and very honest. And I think Brendan would share that opinion with you, that it's not on the responsibility of one owner, be it Stat Sports, Andy Connolly, or Peak Six, to go in there and spend 20 or 30 million. Not, I don't think anybody could on a stadium. He thinks it's the responsibility of everybody, and that's what I'm saying. Let's get the survey in, let's get different opinions, and let's then see, could we put together a committee of like-minded people who could really get this project off the ground, and that exactly what you're saying, so that it doesn't really matter who's the owner of Dundalk Football Club, that the project is ongoing. It's and there's a name there and a target, and we want to get to that target.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose, look, just one quick question in the short term. And again, I'm only saying this, everything I'm saying is just because this came up in the last week or so since the game was on telly. I was listening, obviously to a couple other more general League of Ireland podcasts, but the pitch has come up, and again, that's something, and I'm sure you're sick to death.
The pitch wasn't at its best. The pitch wasn't. I do want to explain that the pitch wasn't at its best last week because it was tested for its UEFA certificate, and it did mean that the week or two leading up to it, there was a wee bit of work needed, which takes the rubber to the top and more rubber added. So where people might have been, I actually thought it played all right. I see it every day, so that was the reason why there was a wee bit more black or rubber on the top. And it's nothing to do with the condition of the pitch or anything like that. It was that it was being prepared for test. That's all.
Yeah, and I think what's funny is it can look bad, but it can play well. That kind of way.
Yeah,
I think people get bogged down in how it looks.
I had to be honest with you, Pingo. You remember this 10 years ago? Everybody and their mother gave out about that pitch. I don't hear that anymore, and I think it's because it's an age thing that people have grown up now playing on it. Yeah, and they just get on with. 10 years ago, everybody was giving out about the AstroTurf pitch. Most League of Ireland clubs now probably train twice a week on an AstroTurf pitch before they go on grass. All the kids going up in underage football now, as you'd know, over in Coothill and that, they'd be playing on AstroTurf pitches. It's no big deal anymore.
Yeah,
and I hear less and less criticism of it.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Just the criticism that I did hear this week was how it looks, and that seems to be what it is. It's not about how it plays.
Well, hopefully I've explained a wee bit of that. What happened.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And I suppose just touching then on the underage structures, everything seems to be going well in the club there, both on the male and female side, isn't it? I think the
Yeah,
under
but you
17s
love
and
that
ones are
because
doing.
we've a few young fellas from over your neck of the woods, not Chicago now, but
I didn't want
where
to mention
where
Shannon
you're
Mullen,
originally
but
from. Yeah, who are doing really well. Listen, we're delighted with the way it's going. It's taken a wee bit of work. Derek Boyle has gone in there as academy director, and he's been great. All the managers have been top class. Tiernan with the 19s, Tiernan and Griff with the 19s, Connor Woods with the 17s, and Kevin Beggy, Simon Kelly, Derek Delaney with the 15s, and Harry and the boys, and Grimesy helping out there with the 14s, and it's been really good. And it's not as again, academy and underage football is not a short-term project. It's a long-term project that takes a lot of money, takes a lot of time, and you may get reward out of it, you may not. But I think when you see Ryan coming through, he's been brilliant for the last couple of weeks, and he's put in a really great couple of months. We've Sen and Mullen, who's coming through, one of your guys from over in Coot Hill. 17-year-old who's playing under 19s international. We have Luke Mulligan, another guy from he's not just your neck of the woods, but nearly Monaghan, over by Monaghan,
yes.
under 15 international. Now he's only 14, and he's been called into the under 16 squad. And, stuff like that, that's really, really good, and you can see the hard work paying off.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. And then, touching on the women's side as well, obviously when you say it's a long-term project, it's great to see the under 17s are doing very well with Jason McConville in there this season as well. And obviously,
I think what you'll see going forward is that women's football is a vital part of any League of Ireland club and any football club. You can see a report that UEFA done recently on the success of the Euros in the UK, and the commercial value that women's football and the commercial value of it to the sport, and the opportunities that are there for sponsors, and it's mind blowing figures, and the potential that's there for it. But from a community point of view and an inclusive point of view, it's something that needs to be done. Our problem, and this can go back to the pitch as well, is we need to look at facilities. We've now 6 underage teams. In the next year or two, we want an under 19 girls team. In the next 5 years, or 3 to 5 years, we want a women's senior team. Something has to give. We're busting at the seams at the moment. And that's why we've been very lucky that Glenmore here in the town have let us use their pitch for a couple of the women's games, or under 14 or 15. We hope that, and we'll keep talking to them, that we make that a more permanent arrangement, and that we can work closer with them on it.
That's brilliant, and it's great to be working with clubs in the local community too, because that only helps build relations as players are coming through, But I suppose, Martin, as we wind this down, because I'm well aware it's late. It's late.
You have to go and collect the child.
I have to go collect the child too, and I don't want to talk anymore about the women's game, because Gally was texting me earlier telling me to make sure that I ask you to give me a job if the women's stuff starts taking off, and I thought I'd get through a full chat with you without bringing that up. But no, I suppose one of the biggest stories out of the club in the last week was the announcement in collaboration with Fife's the Harry Taff Mental Health and Wellbeing programme. And we had Shane Taff obviously on talking a little bit about it last week. So if you want to give a little bit of insight, and I know from your perspective, from a personal point of view, naming it after Harry was something that just had to be done, wasn't it?
Well, look, it's something that is close to everybody in Oriel Park. Harry was an amazing person, and he touched everybody in Oriel Park with his hijinks and his spirit and everything. And I think everybody knows that Harry passed away to suicide in 2 years ago. And since the day it happened, I have been looking to sort of honor his name and that sort of thing. And then I left, so that was put in the back burner. And so I've spoken with Derek Pepper, who through Shine, an absolutely amazing person, and is so qualified and talks about the whole thing about mental health and well-being. Like, he's such an expert in it. And and our good friends in Fifes, Jerry and Emma, when I approached them about it, they just jumped at it. They just and they've come on board with a couple of things with the summer camps and that sort of stuff. And but it's like everything. It's like what I said to you earlier on about being a community club. You can have all the community programs you want and all the mental health well-being programs, but if they don't make a difference, they're just box ticking. And when Derek explained the Safe Talk workshops and that to us, I think everybody in the room was just said, this is just a great idea. It's and for people who don't know, basically what that is, it's a 4-hour workshop that held by the HRC or Derek in this case, and it's for people who may come in contact with people who have mental health issues, or just to arm you in some way with recognizing telltale signs of people that may have, and basically they're not telling you like you're going to cure them, but they're going to just tell you that how to deal with it, how to cope, and maybe just say to that guy or woman, do you need help? Do you need, you might need to go and see your GP. You might, here's a bit of help for you, and that's basically all it is, And that's so if we can. So what we want to do, we're having the first one in a couple of weeks. And I hope that a lot of our coaches, our underage coaches who come into contact with a lot of younger males or females, I hope that they'll be able to do that. I hope that people around the club, I hope that people in Fifes and other industries in the town will contact us and say, listen, we'd love to get on board with this. I already have a couple of people with a couple of businesses who say, yeah, they'd love to get on board with this and actually send their supervisors to do the workshop, which is great. And all we want to do is, and this is how, when we got involved with Women's Aid at the start of the year, it was basically, we give them the bucket collection and we done other stuff with them, but they said all they wanted out of us was to use our profile to increase their profile. And if we can do that with 10 different organizations in Dundalk Football Club, right, or in Dundalk, well then isn't it great that we're helping other people get their message out there? And that's all we want to do.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic to see, and I don't need to tell you obviously about my own involvement with heading the game, but it's great, as like you just said, we're using the profile of football to be able to promote mental health within the game, and the generation that you're talking about, that younger generation, are the ones that need it more than anything, because they're exposed to a lot more social media than any of us were. I'm sounding like an alpha. I'm sounding like you now, Martin, saying that, but they're exposed to a lot more social media, and they're getting feedback a lot quicker than we ever got, so if we can,
I think social media, has its use in that, but it's a dangerous evil as well, and I've witnessed that in the last couple of weeks myself. But look, as you say, I'm from a slightly different era. But what is really recognizable is the dangers of mental health and the lack of resources that's available to people who are struggling at the moment. And we're not saying that we're going to cure you or we're going to help with the resources, but what we are going to say is that we're going to do our best to arm people in some way, if they come across it, and if we can do that, that's all we can do. We'd be very, and if we help one person in that, by doing that, it's a project worth doing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I always say as well. Well, look, Martin, I don't want to take up really any more of your time because I have to get away and pick the child up. But just if you want to wrap up, this has been brilliant, and I appreciate the time that you have given me because I know it's late back home.
I can't say no to you, if you rang me every week, I'd find it hard to say no. I can't do it.
I know, yeah. But look, have you any message for the supporters that are listening? With regards to the survey, with regards to the rest of the season as we wrap up?
Yeah, listen, I suppose the first thing we want to do is we want to thank everybody for the support. Like, the support we've got this year has been amazing. It would have been very easy for people to chuck in their interest at Dundalk Football Club. But I think what you've seen over the last, probably 15, 18 months is how important the football club is to the community and how important it is to the people of Dundalk. And we're very grateful that they've supported us for the last 12 months. And we know that, it's going to be tough over the next couple of months over here. It's all right for you big swingers and big money men over in Chicago, but I think it could be tough for the next few months, and we'll all stick in together. And, from the support point of view, it's been amazing. On the field, just continue to back Stevie. He's been doing a great job. Be patient. Everything's not going to come together in the one season. And I think people might be a wee bit naive to think that, But everybody around the club is you can see it in the performances. They're absolutely giving it everything. Everybody in the club is working hard to improve and make things better. And give us a wee bit of time and we'll get there. As for the survey, give yourself a bit of time. It's not a 2-minute job. You're not going to do it on your mobile phone in 2 minutes. We encourage everybody to sit down and take the survey, put a bit of time and effort into it, and it'll give us an idea of where we're going and how we're going to get there going forward.
Brilliant, Martin. I appreciate your time. Thanks again.
You're very welcome. Good luck.